Hola y bienvenidos a nuestro programa arquidiocesano de la Hora Católica, Misa y Más. Soy Alejandro Castillo. La Iglesia sigue dando testimonio de la presencia viva de Cristo a través de nuestras vocaciones y del amor a la Eucaristía. En esta edición los llevaremos a la Catedral del Santo Nombre, donde 3 hombres fueron ordenados sacerdotes para servir a la Arquidiócesis de Chicago. Además, acompañaremos a la comunidad de la parroquia San Pío X durante su solemne procesión de Corpus Christi, celebrada en unión con la consagración de Estados Unidos al Sagrado Corazón de Jesús, convocada por la Conferencia de Obispos Católicos de los Estados Unidos. Espero que lo disfruten.
When I was 13 years old, I had an experience of Jesus that was really profound. I saw Jesus on the cross, and I heard a gentle voice ask me, "Will you do my will?" Which at that point I didn't know what that meant, but I said yes to it because I trusted that voice was good and that I could trust him, I could say yes to him. And that led me down a path of deep discernment. It changed my life quite profoundly. I had to trust in God much more. And I told my pastor about it, and he said, "I think you should begin thinking about entering a seminary." He handed me an application to join a group of high school boys, and that's when I started discerning a seminary.
I was raised Catholic, and my parents are devout Catholics and did their utmost to raise me in the faith. But in my early teens, I more or less lost my belief in God and did everything I could to find happiness and fulfillment apart from God. And I graduated college. I was very successful in my career and had friends, had fun all the time. And one night I was just going to bed and was thinking about all of these things and said, well, I always wanted to be an engineer, got to be an engineer. Wanted to live in Wrigleyville. Everything, the dream has come true. But I found that I was miserable. I had a real hollow just sensation in my heart and my soul. And eventually I came back to a belief in God, and over the next few years, I started asking our Lord what He desired for my life. And through novena, through being in adoration before the Blessed Sacrament, I thought I had sensed our Lord asking me, will you be one of my priests? And initially I thought, well, that's a terrible idea. I never wanted to be a priest. And I prayed about it more, and I talked to priests that I knew and trusted. And eventually I said, okay, Lord, I'm going to start following this path. And if this is really your will for my life, then it's what is going to bring me this fulfillment and joy and inner peace that I'm searching for. And I started walking down that path, and I just have never been happier. It's been wonderful.
I first felt the call to the priesthood when I was in college. I was at the University of Illinois in Champaign. I was studying advertising, and advertising can be a pretty demanding, grueling, and oftentimes discouraging environment. And so I was just in a dark place, and I was looking for a deeper connection with the Lord, wanted to reconnect with my faith in a deeper way. And I was at Mass, and I saw the priest processing in, and he put his hands together. I remember that I used to do that when I was an altar server, so I thought that might help me. And as soon as I did that, I felt this voice call out to me, and I just heard him say, "What if you were a priest?" And it took me off guard, but I listened to that voice, and the more I listened to it, the more I wanted to follow after it. And I remember reading a book that a priest gave me, and in the first few pages of that book, it said, "A priest brings Jesus Christ to other people, and other people to Jesus Christ." And I remember just weeping after I read that, because that's what my heart wanted. And so I kept pursuing the Lord's call, and after 7 years, here I am, ordained a priest.
I would say at times, I think God made it almost painfully clear what he wanted me to do. And I think he allowed many limits to be in my life to intentionally keep me on the right path. I often struggled with saying that, maybe I'm not free because I am at X, Y, and Z life circumstances, find me in this situation or in this condition, and so I'm not actually free. But I think those things, looking back on them, that's actually how God was telling me, this is telling you this is a wall you're going to hit. Go back to the right path. And then just trusting that my limitations or places where I felt like I was limited or couldn't do what I wanted, quote unquote, wanted to do, wasn't actually inhibiting me, but guiding me. They're guiding me to God's will, which is what I was always searching. From the beginning, that was my experience, was, will you do my will? Yes. What is that for me? Show me, Lord.
I think oftentimes in the world, there's things that would distract you from following the Lord's call, but thankfully I was really blessed to have great priests and great friends who encouraged me to keep engaging with the Lord's voice, to keep going to prayer, to have conversations with them to see what the Lord was doing in my life, because you can't do it alone. The world is too noisy. But if you have other people who the Lord wants to work through and speak to you through, it gets a lot easier.
What's really funny is before my diaconate ordination, my resting heart rate is normally somewhere in the mid-50s. And I was just sitting in the pew waiting for ordination, and I was in the high 90s. I was so nervous. But thanks be to God, I don't really feel kind of an anxiousness, but more what I feel, honestly, is a deep sense of unworthiness, but also a deep sense of gratitude, because I'm thankful that our Lord has called me to this vocation, unworthy as I am. And I just hope to continue to be able to say yes to him and follow him wherever he leads.
My hope as a priest is just to help people encounter the same love that Jesus Christ has shown me, to help them encounter that same love in their life, to show them that he is with them in all things and wants to draw them more closely to his own heart and to fulfill their lives in the deepest possible way. I
hope to just be involved in the life of the parish. I hope to just spend as much time as possible talking to people, visiting with them. There's a hospital nearby. I'd hope to do a lot of visits there. There's a high school nearby, a local Catholic high school, and I hope to do part-time ministry there. And I hope just to visit with families and to be present to them.
At my new parish, so I hear that St. Raymond's is a vibrant and just wonderful community. And I really have a strong sense that every human heart is desirous and longing for God and is made for the love of God. And I hope to do the best I can to help people understand that our Lord Jesus Christ loves them now and unto eternity. And there's no sin that is greater than the love of God. And there's nothing they can do that would stop Jesus from loving them. I think it's so easy to slip into despair and think that because of something I've done or something I've failed to do, that there's not a chance for me anymore. But that is antithetical to the reality of the Christian faith and the hope that we have always, that God is a God of second chances, and God always desires to welcome us back. And so that's what I hope to bring forward in my new assignment. And I hear there are plenty of families, and so get to know the families and see where they're at and help them with their faith and their lives, and just do everything I can to serve our Lord, serve his church, and serve his people.
Looking back in my life, it's always been my home parish pastor. So the first person that saw this in me, this potential in me, and invited me intentionally to discern the priesthood was Father Joseph Tito, longtime pastor of my home parish, Our Lady of Mercy in Albany Park, Chicago. And then after that, Father Nick Desmond, although he's retired now, he was also throughout high school towards my later years, especially as I was really becoming serious about seminary. Any doubts that I had as I got closer to senior year, as I got closer to graduating, I would just voice those doubts to him, and he would clarify and help me discern and to process. And even now, my current home parish pastor, Father Tom Byrne, who's been a great help in planning my first Mass and all these things, and is constantly, still to this day, a mentor figure for me, not so much in the discernment of seminary, but guiding me to become a good priest. So it's always been our parish priests or pastors who have been alongside me and guided me.
If possible, I would say first try to go to daily Mass. Go to Mass as much as you can, because the grace is conferred through the sacraments efficaciously, and first and foremost and principally through the Eucharist. And it will only be via God's grace that you would be able to pursue and be successful in the priesthood. So that would be my first piece of advice, was try to get to Mass. And then after that, entrust your life to our Blessed Mother, because God our Father entrusted his Son to Mary. And in imitation of God, when we entrust ourselves to Our Lady, she brings us to her Son. And our Lord will lead you where you are meant to be. And then third and final, I would say try and find a priest, a spiritual director that you trust, someone that you can ask questions about, because there's a lot of things that seem really scary about the priesthood that aren't actually as scary the more that you talk about them. And the more that you hear from priests, the things that they do to manage the difficult parts, but then also when you talk to a priest about the life of the priesthood, you see the joy in their face, and you realize there is happiness in this life. There is a path of fulfillment, and so those would be the three things I'd recommend. Try and get to daily Mass, entrust your life to Our Lady, and find a spiritual director, a good priest that you trust.
Yeah, I think something really beautiful from the scriptures is that when Jesus first calls his first followers, his first disciples, Peter and John and Andrew and James, he calls them not just like by themselves, each one, but together as brothers. And so I think for every young man, I would say you need to find a group of brotherhood of other young boys who are also discerning the priesthood. That's what helped me discern the priesthood, and that's what will help them. And so I would recommend the Archdiocese of Chicago Vocations Office does a great job in putting on events for young men. So Quo Vadis Days, which happens at Mundelein Seminary at the end of July, come to that, which is just a giant summer camp full of fun with other like-minded young men. And come to our Quigley Days, which happen about 3 times a semester, and just opportunities to hang out with guys who are also thinking about the priesthood, who are on fire for the faith and want to grow.
The first thing I would say to a young man who's thinking about priesthood is ask the Lord what he wants for your life, because oftentimes we don't. We just think the Lord's going to kind of just show up. But if you're asking that question, he's going to answer. And the answer might surprise you. It might be scary at first. But to trust and keep asking for the grace of faith. I would just maybe encourage families as well to talk to their sons about vocation, to encourage them to be open to what the Lord is doing in their life, and to be open to the surprise and the adventure that is following the Lord's will for your life.
fiesta, la gran fiesta del Santísimo Cuerpo y la sangre de nuestro Señor Jesucristo. El tema que yo quiero desarrollar para mi homilia es el toque de Dios. ¿El toque de quién?
De Dios.
De Dios. ¿El toque del diablo?
No.
¿El toque de
Dios.
¿El toque del hombre?
No.
¿Es el toque de
Dios.
Esto es todo por esta edición de la Hora Católica, Misa y Más. Soy Alejandro Castillo. Espero que disfruten el resto de su día y que Dios los bendiga.